Oh, so building a wall is immoral. It's so immoral. You want to know what's really immoral? It's not building a wall. That's not what's immoral. Something that's truly, truly immoral is being a Democrat. Period. Being a Democrat's more immoral than building a wall. Because, building a wall does what? It protects your country. It protects from people invading, people coming in for war. And don't give me that excuse, you can't build it across mountains. Really? Cool. How about that? Cool, you can't do that. Somebody tell China that the Great Wall of China is not real. Okay? It's establishing a boundary around what authority you have, what laws you have as a country. It is no different than establishing the boundary as to who's allowed to step foot on your property or not, and what rights you have to decide who does what once they come across that boundary. You don't want them there, you have the right to throw them off your property. They come there and mean you harm, you have the right to kill them. You have the right to defend your family. You have the right to do what you want to do on your property because it's yours. As a nation, it's the same thing because we run a nation just like we run a household, folks. It ain't that complicated. You have to have a boundary. And you have to have a big wall, just like a big fence. You have to have one big wall so it establishes your boundary and your authority for whoever crosses that boundary to abide by. And we as the people get to decide what that is. You want to say it's immoral? Building a wall does what? Makes it harder for them to cross, if anything. It's a preventative measure to slow down the... Is it going to stop them? No. So why are you all crying about it? If you're saying, well, it's not going to stop them, they're just going to go over it and under it and fly through it, well, good. Who cares then? You shouldn't care one bit if we build it, because if they're going to come over here, let them come over here anyway. Just build a wall. And if they're going to get here, at least we're going to make it harder on them to get here. We sure ain't going to make it easier. You're going to leave your doors unlocked so that, put a sign outside your door so that the child predators can come sleep with your child in a bed, run their hands down their legs in the bed because you want to leave your door open? Or are you smart enough to lock it? Huh? You're going to open up your door to anybody who wants to come in and take your food, to take your wife and rape her, to take your kids and sell them, come in and steal your drugs, your medication, steal your identity? Because people like it or not, look at the damn stuff that goes on in this country. There is child predators. There is rapists. There is gangs. There is murderers. There is drug dealers. There is people who do sell little children. And there's a lot of people that don't get caught. And you want to act like building a wall is the immoral thing? Establishing a boundary for this country is the immoral thing? But you're gung-ho rally on for anybody who wants to terminate a child in the womb whenever it is inches away from getting its first breath. You want to have a doctor take essentially a pair of scissors in and put it behind its neck and snap its stem to its brain to kill it, and then pull it the rest of the way out just because you don't want it, just because it's an inconvenience to your life. My body, my right. My body, my right. Yeah, it's your body, your right. You made the choice not to wear protection, not to have somebody wear protection. So guess what? You made the choice back then to neglect being responsible. But it's always an excuse. Just because nobody wants to be responsible, just let them in. Let the illegals in. Let me get pregnant. I'll kill the baby later. Who cares? I want to talk about immoral walls. Want to know what else is immoral? The history of the Democratic Party. Historically, the Democrats wanted to expand and preserve slavery, and the Republican Party was created to abolish it. Abe Lincoln, example. He got killed for it. But no, building a wall is immoral. By all means, don't build the wall. But New York, they'll sit there and make sure to sign the rights so that you can kill any child you want to if you're a woman. But they're for equality now. They're all for equality, unless if it's for the man, because it's all about a woman's body and a woman's right to have the child or to kill the child. But, you know, the man fools around with you and then he thinks it's a one-night stand. You can abort 15 kids. Nothing's stopping you from aborting 15 kids, but you let a rich guy knock up somebody, and then all of a sudden they're going to have that kid, and then it's going to be, I want the government, who I told to stay out of my womb, to get involved so that they can tell the man that he's going to help take care of what come out of my body, that I have the right to control. Makes no sense when you're talking about equality then, does it? Because then all of a sudden you want the government to step in. They want the government out of their bodies and out of their wombs, but oh Lord God, yeah, you let them have the child, and then they want the government to foot the bill. They want the government to help send it to school, to provide the health care, to provide the food stamps, to provide the housing, but not to tell them you need to be responsible for what you do with your own body. No, that's bad. Yes. So y'all going to tell me a wild's immoral? Get out of here with that stuff for one. That's ridiculous. It's more immoral to sit here and say, no, don't build a wall because we just don't like it. We're going to call it racist and we're going to call it this and call it that. So you all would rather risk more drugs coming in to America. You'd rather risk more child sex trafficking, more murders, more gang members than you would just to build a damn wall and get it over with. You want to talk about immoral? Being a Democrat is immoral. Pure and simple. Then on top of that, you want to talk about, you know, but well, what else come out of it? The Confederacy come out of the Democratic Party. The Ku Klux Klan come out of the Democratic Party. And don't give me that whole the two parties flipped blah blah BS, because you know it's a bunch of bull just as well as I do. Martin Luther King was a Republican. Okay? He was a Republican. They killed him. JFK was a free-thinking, old-school Democrat who didn't want to abide by the Democratic rules. So what they do, he was like the Trump of the Democratic Party. So they killed him. But then LBJ comes in there. So when did it switch? With Lyndon B. Johnson? Because Lyndon B. Johnson is somebody who Hillary Clinton considers her favorite president. The same LBJ who gladly signed the Civil Rights Act after he fought it for years as a segregationist when the Republicans created it to begin with. But he became president and then signed it because he thought it was funny. He said, and I quote, that he'd have those N-words voting Democrat for the next 200 years or so. But yeah, they switched parties. Then Hillary Clinton's favorite president was LBJ. Not only that, but let's see, back then at the same time period, Planned Parenthood was founded, where Margaret Sanger went around attending KKK meetings so that she could get funded, because she said that black people was essentially like weeds that need to be exterminated. So they wanted to open up Planned Parenthood in all the poor, poverty-ridden ghettos, you know, all those places, so they kill all the black people that they could before they got a chance to be born. And of course, it's Hillary Clinton. She loved her. That was her mentor. Somebody, not her mentor, but her role model for a woman was Margaret Sanger. And then look at her mentor. Her mentor was the longest elected Democratic senator in American history, Senator Byrd. Also, Klan Grand Wizard. But no. The parties, they switched, didn't they? You know, somebody could point out all these little odds and ends. Whenever it comes down to it, the Democrats are in denial. Period. Because they just can't handle that they're going to lose. They've been losing. That they're actually the ones who's racist. They're actually the ones deflecting. They're the most corrupt party in American history. And everything they do ruins this country. So you want to talk about something immoral? It ain't a wall. It's being a Democrat and trying to defend being a Democrat or make excuses for being a Democrat. Period.